our lateness and all that, but just indulge and bear with us. So if I bring two palettes out and bring, so today's class I'll be using those guys as example. I'll be excluding them and recreating them from two palettes. You know those, so let me just bring, so you understand what I'm trying to say. Remember this guy. Okay, so let's look at architecture for instance. You notice if we bring it outdoor, so you notice you have this. And this door, if you remember, we can, if I select this door, we can flip it. Can you remember this? And we said we can use this one to change the different visibility state. Maybe we want it to be 90 degrees opened, or we want to, you notice all these things are changing. It's because it's dynamic block effect. So we're going to be looking at how to create all this stuff. And also here, you notice if you click it, you can change different sizes. Okay? We're going to look at that. And the same thing with our window. If I select this window, you can change the size of this window. You can change the what's it called? The width of the window by clicking on this guy. Okay. All right. So what I'll be doing, I'll be exploding these guys and be recreating them. That's what I'm doing. Then we'll try and recreate those things ourselves. Looking at each of those case studies that we want to use. So if I bring this window out and also bring this door, let's see how to do this, guys. So let me select this door. I'm going to explode this. So if you notice for this door, what we have is flipping the door. We can flip this door. We can change the width of the door and also the height of this door. Okay, then we can use this to as base point to move it anywhere we want. So let's look at how to add all those things. So what I'll do is let me copy it so that you will know, you see that it's not the actual object I'm working with. So once I have this object, I'll explode it. Now you notice if I select this guy now, nothing is there. I just have all these. Remember these guys. So these are, so I will go back to my parametric constraint. I'm going to delete all parametric constraints. So they don't have any constraints. So, what? Yeah. So I will delete all of them, select this guy, and go to delete constraints. And if I select again, they should not have those constraints. So that means all these things are different parts now. They now have lines, circle. If I select anything, nothing is glued to anything. I just have these rectangles and all this. Okay. So let's try and create a block out of this guy. And the kind of block like this, I want to make it dynamic so that we'll be able to change the width, we'll be able to change the height, we'll be able to flip the door. Okay. So when you are doing your dynamic block, there are things you need to put in mind. Sorry. There are things we need to put in mind when we want to do our dynamic block, and those things are, you add your action, you add your constraint. So how do we do that? So let's just, you'll see what I'm trying to say. So the first thing I'll do is I will select this guy. I want to create a block. So it's more like I'm creating a block. So I'll run my block command. So if I run my block command, I click on create block. Just the same, all those things we've been doing. If I click here, it's going to tell me it's going to bring up this dialog box, give it a name. So I'll say my door DIN for like dynamic, just now. Then I want to pick a base point. So let's say this is going to be my base point. Then I want to select object, right? So I'll just select this object, highlight everything, press enter. And you notice this object is highlighted and is here. So let's just convert it to block. Then I want to allow F for exploding. So you know that once we are done with this, normally what we'll do is just open, okay, right? But now before I okay this, I'm going to come to open in block editor. I'll check it. So if I check this guy and I okay, it's going to create a block and put it inside block editor for me to start adding those intelligent stuff that I was talking about. So if I click on OK now, It's going to bring it out in the block editor. And inside this block editor is another interface. You notice it's kind of gray. Another interface for me to start adding things. Do you understand? So if you notice, if you look up here, you have option. You can see you can test your block, you can save the block, you have all these things here. But where the main thing is inside this block authoring and what's it called? Authoring palette. So this block authoring palette, we have the parameter tab and we have the action tab. So the parameter are those things that will tell you that okay, this object, what is the length of this object? Do you understand? What is the width of this object? You want to flip this object, those things are parameter. Then the action is always the intelligence you add to the parameter. So what do I mean? Parameter is more of label. You want to label this thing. So I want to label the width of this door. The label that I add to this guy is the parameter. Am I making any sense? Then the action is now that intelligence that I'm giving to that label. That okay, if I'm saying the label is the width of this door, I want to add the action that will kind of go with that parameter. So if the parameter is in width, I want to add an action that will allow me to stretch this guy in such a way that will increase the width of this door. If I say I want to add the label, a parameter that is height, I need to also add an action that will allow me to change the height. So for every parameter you're adding, there is an action for it to work. It's not just enough for you to add parameter and fail it to work. I will add parameter and let's see it won't work until I add label to it. But not all parameters require label. Example of those parameters that don't require, sorry, not all parameters require action. Example of those parameters that don't require action is base points. So base point is just where you want your photo to be, so it doesn't really require action. So we'll start with that simple so that we'll see what we're saying. So I'm going to first off add a base point parameter. So if you come under this place, under your parameter, if you scroll down, there's this option for you to add a base point. So if I click on base point, it's going to tell me where I want to put this base point. Can you specify parameter location? So I want this place to be my base point. So if I click here, it's going to add this icon here, which is going to be my base point, and that's all. Then if I test this block, you can see if I select this block, okay, you can see that I have that icon for base points, with which I can use to move this object anywhere. Are we making any sense? Okay. We are still working. I'm taking it one step. So the simplest one is that adding base points. So once you are done, you can just say close test block. So every time you're adding all those things, you need to always test them to be sure that what you have added is working. Okay. So now we've added that. The next thing is the next simple thing we can also add is to flip this door. So what if I want to flip it so that the knob will go to the other side? Can we do it? Yes, we can. And that means we have to add a flip parameter, right? So if I click on flip parameter, it's going to tell me to specify base points of a reflection line. So that means where the reflection line for flip will be. I know that I want this door to be flipped at the center, right? If I want it to flip at this guy, that means this is going to be my base point, right? Am I making any sense? I want to so if I want my one to flip from here, this is going to be my base point in the middle of them. If I want to flip here, meaning all of them will flip on this side and here. Then I will make it from here to here. Anyhow. Anything you want, go do you know why I said flipping from middle is better? Is because what if after the shopper, the toy goes to the somewhere, they'll change the location. But I just want the hand to flip. So let's for instance, this door now. I don't want the hand to be there. I want the hand to be here. So my new line, my flip line is there, and so that I want this space, the position to space, but the hand comes in. But if I choose here, and I'm flipping that, so all of them will go to so You will see now. And you will not really appreciate it. That's why I explained that. But let's choose here. So it's telling us to specify base point of the flip line. So I want this flip icon to be here. Base point means where you want the icon of the flip to be. So I'll click here. Then the next thing is going to tell me to specify the end point. So I want this flip to be straight. So if I turn on my auto mode, so it's going to be straight. So notice it's creating a blue line. That blue line is the flip line. So that means it's going to be flipping from that line. So if I click here, and then the next thing is going to tell me to specify the label location. So I want the label to be somewhere here at the arrow. If I click, it's going to add the label here. Then the next thing is, I think that's all. It should ask me to select object I'm flipping. I don't know why. No, the command. When? This one? No, it's nothing. No, actually, okay. Yes, okay, sorry. Okay, so I told you that what I've just done is just to add the parameter. I need to now go and create a corresponding action that will drive this parameter. So that's why I don't have anything. So for me to now, because right now, if I go and test, this guy, I will see the label, I will see the icon. Okay, I'm seeing that, but I don't see the icon for this one because there's no parameter for it to drive. So if I close this block editor, it's still here. I have to go under my action to add an action for it to flip. You can see there's a flip action. So if I go to flip action, it's going to tell me to select the parameter that I want this thing to drive. So this is the parameter I want it to drive, this flip state, right? So I'll select this, either anything that relates with that flip, I'll just click. So it's saying that specify selection. So it's now telling me to select object that I want to flip. So I want to flip this whole object like this. Please always read one. So if I select this whole object, I'll press enter, and that's all. So if I go and test this now, and I select this, I will have that flip icon. So if I click on this, so it's going to be flipping. Yeah. So if I wanted this guy to be in this location while it's flipping, that means this is supposed to be where my listen. So let's close that. So should we solve that and put it in the right position? So if we were to do that, you notice anytime you add this, it's going to add this constraint, right? So I can right click on this constraint and I have option to modify my selection set. Okay. Then I have action, show all action, delete. So let's see. If we say modify the action sets, this will tell us to select objects. That will not solve it. What happens if we select this and move it to that middle? So let's see. I think that should be the simplest way. So if I click here, we can try and move it to this middle point and then bring this flip and move this flip here. No, I'm just moving my mouse click. No, not hold. Click, move my mouse to where I want to put the flip, click. So I'll click here, move it to this place, and click. And once we are done, skip, let's try and test that. Since that is now our mirror line, I see. So it's working now. Okay. So that's how to solve that. So you see the second one, we're now beginning to go deeper. So the next thing we'll also want to do is we can also, so it's still the same process. If you want to flip vertically, this is horizontal flip. So if I want to be able to flip vertically, but in the case of this, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of, if it was floor plan now, we can flip up, open, so that works. But let's look at the next one. The next one is we can also, so let's go to the parameter, we can also change the width of this door. So if we want to be able to change the width of the door, how do we do that? We are going to use the linear parameter to change the width. So we click on the linear. Notice I'm jumping some things because for this particular kind of object, the things that will work is what I'm picking. I'll still go to another example that will require me to use visibility, alignment, and so on and so forth. So if I go to linear, it's going to tell me to specify the point. So I want to specify from here all the way to this place. So it's just like a dimension. So I'll click. It's going to add that linear here. But notice this is calling it distance one. I don't want it to read distance one. I want to give it a proper level width. So what do? You select this distance or this dimension stuff. You select it, you right click, then you are going to go to property. That's one way. Second way is yeah, you know that. But because it doesn't like it, so let's just. So you right click on. So notice first thing is you have to make sure you have it selected. It's important. Or select it first, then right click anywhere. Property. It's going to open up property dialog box. So let's wait for it. So what I need to do is to go down till I have the distance name. I want to change it from distance to width. Press enter and that will change. Okay, so this is me adding label parameter. But now the parameter will not have any action until I add action to it. So that means we have to go to our action. Then we want to add a stretch icon. So the stretch icon is what we are going to add to this to change the width. Remember how stretch works. So we go to stretch. Then it's going to tell us to select the parameter we want this stretch to be associated with. We click here. Then the next thing is we should specify the point of association, that is where we want to stretch. No, click the parameter. That's the first thing I'm going to select. Once you click stretch, you're talking about here or the normal stretch. This one, once you click the stretch action, the first thing, let me escape. If you click the stretch action, this is what it's going to say. Select parameter. Okay, let me drop it. Put it inside the section. Put it there. And that will fall. So once you have the command, it's going to tell you to, oh, I was recording and I didn't pause. It's going to tell you to select the parameter that you want this command, this action to be associated with. That's the first thing. So I want this stretch to be associated with this width. So I'll click on the width first. If I click on the width, the next thing it's going to tell me is At what point do I want the stretch to start from? So because I want to increase the weight of this side, but this is where I'm going to increase the weight this side, right? So I'm going to click somewhere here. That's why I want to click while I can change the weight. So I'll just click here. You can see the red X. Then the next thing is going to tell me to specify corner point of stretch frame. So my stretch frame is going to be down up all the way here. Remember the stretch command. I told you that for stretch, you don't click. You do a crossing selection over a part that you want to stretch. So since I want the stretch to come to the side, so that means these lines, these ones are the one I want to stretch. So my stretch frame will be from here all the way up here. Do you see that? Then after I've done that stretch frame, the next thing is going to tell me to select object. You know that if you are selecting, you don't want to select everything too. You want to select the parts you are going to stretch. So I'll do the same thing. I'll select only this part because this is the part that I want to stretch. I'll click. So only that part is selected. I'll press enter. And that's all. So if I go and test this now, and I select this door, and stretch the width. I'm clicking stretch this all the way here. Do you see that? So I can actually use this to stretch this width, even reduce it all the way. So this is working. But you notice there's a difference between my own kind of width and the one that comes from AutoCAD. AutoCAD goes at increments. We're going to look at how to do that in a bit. So let's do for the height also. Do I need to do it? Let's do it so that. So I'll go back to my parameter. I'll go to linear. Then for the height, I'll click from here to this place, and move it out. Then I told you for us to change this, right click on it, select it, then right click, go to properties, PR, select it, PR, enter. Yeah, for properties now. So if you select this guy, you can just say PR for properties, it's going to bring it. Then want to change this to height. Then it's going to change. So now we've added the parameter, we need to go and associate an action to it. So we have to go to the action tab. We'll go to stretch. We also want to stretch. So click on stretch. It's telling us to select parameter we want this to associate with. We select this. Then the next thing is at what point we want to start the stretch from. So we want to start stretch from this point. Click. The next thing is for us to specify this stretch frame, that blue one. So I want to stretch from here to here. Okay, then select object. Same way we want to select only this object to stretch. We don't want every other one to go, just that object. Press enter, and if we test that, we have opportunity to also stretch upwards and stretch this way. Okay, so let's close that. But then how do we stretch this using a particular distance? All right, so let's check this. This distance, we know that this particular distance from here to here is, okay, I can actually use measure. Sorry. Sorry, so from here all the way to this place. So this is 9, so it's more like 900. So let's say we are going to create for 700, we're going to create for 600, we're going to create for 1, 2. Okay? So how can we do it? So it's very simple. All I just need to do is to add incremental rates or list of sizes that I want. So what I'll do is I'll select this width, go to the property of this width. If I go to the property of this width, you notice you have your distance. I think you have your distance type, and the distance type is set to none. So what I'll do is I'll click on this none, I'll change it to list. We also have increments. So what we need there is we want to choose, you know what increment is? If I want it to be increasing at every rate, maybe every 10. So that means if we have 90, we should have 910. Sorry, if you have 900, we should have 910, 920, 930. That's what increment is. But if you want to put a particular value, then you use list. Am I making any sense? So if I say we want to use incremental, this comes up. It tells us to put the distance increment here. Okay, but we're going to list. Then under list, you see the value you have 900. So I can click on this guy. If I click on this box here, it's going to load the dialog box for me to start adding values. So I said I want to add 700. I want to add 1, 2. I can add as many increments as I want. I can even add 2, 4. Do you understand? Let's say we're adding 1, 8 and stopping it. So let's add 600 and that's all. So once I have that added, those will be added. Another way is by putting a comma. So if I go and test this now, escape, I can escape and go and test this block. If I select this now, I'll be able to change this dynamically as I've always done. But for this one, now have that incremental rate. I can't go outside these values. If I want to have another size, I have to go and add it inside that list. Do you understand? So anyone you feel is okay. So let's use that top. Let's do an increment of 2020. So for this height, we select the height. So instead of us going for list, we just say increment. Then if I come here, we can do some calculation here. So distance minimum, distance, we have distance maximum, then we have distance. So what's the minimum distance we want to have? What's the maximum distance we want to have? Then what's the increment? So let's look at this guy first. What is the height? To know what will be our minimum. So let's say from here to here, let's just check the value. This is 1/8. Okay, so let's just say we want to have a minimum distance of 1/8. So we'll come here, select this guy. Since it's on increment, our minimum distance is going to be 1/8. And our maximum, let's say our maximum will be 1,800. No, it's 1,812, 182 something something. Yeah, I just approximated. It's not 180. No, it's 1,000. Can you see? 28.8. Okay, so we want the minimum to be 1/8, so select this again. Then maybe our maximum to be 24. Then let's have an increment of 20. Do you understand? Or should we go at 200 rather? Let's have an increment of 200. Okay, so if we do that, that is done. We can just come back and go and test. If we select this, so this is working, but we are not having this icon. So why is this? So let's see, something is probably, did I delete? Undo. Let's test. I think I mistakenly deleted it. Okay, so if you see this, see that increment. If you look at it from 2.8, we go to the next one, we go to the next one. If you add 200 to 2.8 to 1.8, what do you have? Can you see? So we can actually still go. Okay, so this is the last one, this next, yes, yes. So that's what the increment is. You can notice that the distance in between are kind of equal. The distance are equal, unlike this one where the distance are not equal. So that's what the increment does. So once I'm done with all these things, so in the case of this guy now, I think this is all I need. I'll just close the block editor. Okay. So I'll close this block editor. That's it. Save this to my dynamic block. That has been saved. So I can now come back, select this. I have all these options. Okay. So let's look at this guy. Um, okay, so let me create these circles that will require us to use this. I hope you understand what I'm doing. Eh? Hmm? Looks like this. Eh? Line. So from here to here. So let's assume I have this. 2 points. Then maybe I'm going to add a hatch here and put some solid color here and close. Okay, so I have this guy and I want to make this block. Now the kind of block that I want to make this guy, we already know how to move. That's not the problem. We know how to flip. If you want to stretch, if you want to enlarge this. But why I'm creating this is because of this functionality. I want to be able to move this block and put this block on any location and it will follow it. It will align to that location. You notice the way it is now. If I bring it here, I want it to be able to flip. If I bring it here, I need it to be able to jump. So what kind of, so I don't want to be rotating every time. Do you understand? I want to just bring this block and be able to move it anywhere and it will be rotating by itself, following the orientation. So let's do that. So that's the only thing I'm going to add to this block, just to show you. So I'll go back to create block and I'll just say some symbol and do a base point, pick a base point somewhere here, select the object, enter. We want to allow for exploding and want to open a block editor, click it, and that's it. So we have this block. So what I need is here under my parameter, what I'm going to add is the alignment parameter. That's what I need to add for it to always align. So if I click on alignment, it's going to tell me to specify base point of my alignment. So this is going to be my base point. All right. It's saying specify base point of alignment or name. So this is going to be my base point. Then the next thing is for me to create the line. So this is my alignment line. Right? So that means that surface that I always want to align. It's just like for when you are creating your stretch, your stretch, you have to, sorry, for flip, that blue line, the same thing. After clicking this as my base point, I need to specify that alignment direction. So this is the surface that I want to align. Okay, so once I have that done, let's go to action. Is there option to align here? There's nothing here to align. So I guess this command doesn't really need any alignment, doesn't really need any action. So let's see what we'll do. If we finish up this and close the editor, save this here, and this object is, so if I select this object, I'm able to pick this alignment. So if I turn off my auto mode, I come to this place. Can you see this is aligned? If I come to this other side, I can flip to this side. If I come to this one, notice also aligned. Okay, so you can actually use it for all these electrical fittings. your switch, all these things. So any side you put it, it goes. You don't need to start rotating. Just. So if I want it to go inside, I'll click, it goes inside. Okay. Then you can also add your flip to it. So to just make everything. Now, the reason why the flip is important, let me show us. So I'm going to undo this, undo it till I'm here. What if we have a word, we have a text? Let's just use normal single line text. Specify base point. The height is going to be this height, and this is the orientation. So let's just put in this. No. Somewhere here. Moving up as this being the height, this being the orientation, then let's just say this is our text. So we have this. Let's now make this a block. So we'll go back, create a block, call this some symbol, and pick a base point here as our base point still. Select the object, selecting everything. All right. Then everything is fine. We want to put it in block editor. We have this. So this forms part of my object. So if I go to my parameter, I can add my alignments or pick here as my alignments. Then let this straight line be this alignment object. So once we are done, if I so let me add this thing flip. So if I come to flip, I also can add a flip somewhere here. So let's just say this is going to be where my flip is. Let's just say somewhere here. Okay, so let's do an horizontal flip here and let this flip line go all the way. I can place this flip here. That's that. And I'm going to add another flip again. And this time, this flip is going to be at the middle here, just somewhere here. Yeah, I can do horizontal and vertical. There's no, one is okay now. If you are doing one horizontal, there's no need adding two on that same horizontal flip. You know, this horizontal flip allow me to go this way, go back. So why put another flip there again? Another flip there. So I feel the only flip can still add is the one that can allow me to go this way. Which is why I'm adding this one and this flip here. And where do I want to put this flip? I'll say I'll put this flip here for the vertical. So I have this. So this is it here. I can actually move this, turn off my auto mode and place it there. Okay, so remember for your flip, it's important we need to add an action to it. It's important. So first flip, select the first, this is the vertical flip. Select object, we select everything. It's very important. Enter. So we want to do the second one, flip. Select the second flip, which is this one. Then it's saying select the object, select everything as this. Enter. That's it. So if we, you are going to see this now. If we close this, accept changes. If I select this guy, I have the flips and I have this alignment. If I bring this guy here, I can align it. You can see, but by the time I move down, notice what happens to the text. Can you see? So which is why this flip comes in handy. So if I use this flip, the text remains the same. Am I making any sense? That's why this flip is important. So it keeps this alignment, but the flip will only flip this symbol, move it from that position to this position, but the orientation of that text will remain. Okay. Then the same thing, if I come here now and I bring this guy from here and I move it towards this direction, you can see we have this. I can also do this flip, switch, and I can do this way. Do you understand? So that's why. But if I had done this guy, if I had used this, it would have disrupted the whole thing. So that's why that flip is also important. You can also use that to do that. So I think we have that. Then there is this other thing for this door, for instance. So that means if you want to do changing the width of this window, you understand what to use. Just linear, then add a stretch to it. But this one is tricky. This one is now kind of a tricky one. And this one now, the tricky part of this is that if I try to stretch this, you notice I'm stretching this guy. And as I'm stretching, this guy is still going. Do you notice that? So let's try and create this ourselves. So I'm going to create a copy. But then before I do this, let's look at the opening angle. You notice the opening angle is angle 30. Let's just look at that. So I'll copy this and move it somewhere here. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to explode. So I'll explode it. So everything is individual parts now. Okay. So let's create a block out of this guy. So select this X or this icon. Yeah, yeah, xylophone. So if we go to create block, we want to give it a name, so we can just say plan door dynamic. Pick a base point. So let's assume this is going to be our base point here. And then we'll pick objects. So the only thing I want to talk about here is scaling this guy. That's the only thing. How to stretch this door. So pick the objects. I'm not going to be talking about flipping this one. You already know those ones. So just what I just want to focus on is. So I'll leave this here and I want to open it in block editor. So if we want to stretch this door, you know what we always do? We'll come here, parameter, create linear, choose this from here to here, right? Bring it down. I don't need to go through the process of renaming this. You understand that? So you notice that this block is made up of a line here, an arc, this and this. So please. So now we want to stretch this. We have to associate an action to it, right? So if I go to this action, I have option to do my stretch action to this. So if I go to my stretch, I can select what I want this to stretch. So now the way I'm going to go with this stretch action is that I'm going to add it separately to different objects. This is one object, this is another object, this is another object. I need to do it separately for them. Okay. So if I come to this, I'll first off associate to this guy. Okay. So once I'm done with this, I want to stretch this. Sorry, escape. Stretch. Select the parameter I want to stretch. This is the parameter I want to. Oh, no, that's not it. This distance is not for. Okay, it is, sorry. Stretch. We'll select the parameter, which is this distance. Then the next thing is the point. So this is the point I want to use to stretch. Remember, I'll click. The next thing is for me to pick the object that I want to stretch. So I'll pick this guy. Okay, this is the guy I want to stretch. I have that picked. Then it's telling me to select objects, so I'll just select this object too. And that is selected, I'll press enter. So if I do my stretch now, only this line will be moving. So if I test this, I select this guy, I try to stretch, only this line will move. That's working fine, the way I want it. Okay, so let's close that. The next thing is I also want to use this stretch command to affect this guy, right? So I will go back again to another stretch command or action. I want this parameter to be associated with it. Then it's telling me to pick a base point. So this is still the base point I want to use to stretch from. Then this is the corner that I want, this guy here. I'll just create a stretch frame around this guy for this object. Then it's telling me to select objects. I'll select this object like this. Okay. So once I have this object selected, I will press enter. So let's test this. If I click on this guy and I try to stretch, you notice what's happening. Eh? Are you noticing? So that means, so this one is not stretching anymore. So let's close. Um, Let me right click. Let's delete this stretch. Let's start again. Sorry, my bad. Select this guy, then select this, and let's make our stretch over everything like this. Hmm? Then it's asking us to select objects. We want to select everything like this. We don't want to finish it, just this place I want to stretch. Press enter. If we test this, we're going to run into a problem, and that problem is this here. You notice as we are stretching this, what is happening is that the angle of that is changing from 30. I want to maintain that 30 while it's stretching. So I'm running into two issues now. The first issue is that this angle is changing. I want to maintain this angle 30 while it's stretching. And the second issue is that this arc is not scaling up. It's maintaining itself. But I want the arc to scale. Johnson, on the arc to scale up. So how do we solve this issue? So let's go and solve them one by one. So I'll just escape, I'll close this. So the first issue to solve is this guy. I can actually solve this easily. So if I select this line, I can do PR for the property. I have option to go to the, where is it? What is this? Is there angle somewhere here? Area, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Um, right click, show. Okay, so if I, let's see if I select this and go to the property. Is it giving me any angle? I'm missing something somewhere. Okay, so this angle, I can't click it. Hmm? This one. Okay, so this is it, angle offset. So we have this angle offset, and angle offset is 0. It's going to affect this other one. Let's make it 30, and let's go and test it. I think it's going to affect this one. Okay, so you can see it's affecting the other line, this line. This line is supposed to, the offset for that line, this particular line, is supposed to be retained as 0, while only that one is supposed to be 30. So actually how I wanted to create it before was correct. I need to create different frame for them. Then one of the frame will be 30 and this one will be 0. So this is what I'll do. I'm going to delete this guy and create the stretch. Select this. I said this is kind of tricky, so select this and pick my stretch frame all the way to this place. Then select object, just want to select only this object. Then I'll press enter. So I want this guy to be offset to be 0. Fine. So go back to that stretch command again. We'll select this and select a frame. So our frame, oh, sorry, this is what we want to also use to stretch out. Then bring our frame here. So once we bring the frame, we need to select the object. So this is the object. We'll make sure we don't select this one. So I'll just select this guy and also this place. It's very important. I want this one to also follow. So once you have this guy selected, I'll press enter. Then we have the two stretch. This is the first one and this is the second one. So this second one, I need to change this angle offset to 30. Do you get? If I make this 30 and let's test this. If we test this now and we select this guy, this is working. This is where I want to go. Okay, I think this guy, okay, I think I know why that one is not going. The reason why this is not going is because this one, so I need to modify this. When I click, you see the frame, it's not completely covering it. So I need to cover this guy. So if I click here, I can. So I'm covering. No, I don't want it to cover this, just to cover this object. So if we test this now, we'll go back, it should work. It's working. So the only thing that is remaining is this guy. Okay. So this one, this, it won't grow. It won't grow. This is what should follow it, and this is what should be increasing in scale. Okay. So what we are going to do for this one now is, instead of us using stretch, we are going to use scale command for this arc. Do you understand? So if I say scale, it's going to tell us to specify parameter. We want this dimension to be what is driving it. Then it's telling me to select objects. So this is the object that I want to scale up. I'll press enter. And this is the scale command. So if we test this, so that this is where the issue is. So you need to know. So this is going, but then you still have another problem. Still have another problem. So this is meant. So this door is kind of problematic. Do you understand? It's kind of problematic. So you need to calm down with it. So let's go back and see what also could be done. So if does he align, you mean aligning this to this? You know, align, we have to move it. But we want to make sure it is fixed to this point. So that's, we can actually. So let's go to constraints. We can add a coincidental constraint, right? So you know coincidence now. So select this of the line of this arc so that you pick that end. Click. Then it's asking us to select the second object. So this is the second object. We want to select this part. So that select second object now. No, no. It's bringing it to the middle, and we don't want that. We want this arc end to be connected to the, not the middle, the end of this one. If I zoom in, it's going to, okay, if possible, I might miss this stuff. Okay, I think it's done. I have that. So let's see. Let's hope it works. So if it doesn't work, just you see what's happening there. So this one is not, but this is working, but this is still not. So you have a lot of things. It's affecting a lot of things. So that's why dynamic this thing is kind of, if you don't really get what you are doing, it's going to be a problem. But let me not waste my time with this one. But I'll find solution. I'll find solution. I will come back. You get. So let's just wait there. So the other thing we also would also look at is here adding what's it called? We can also do an array. Yeah, we can do an array. Okay, but this will not really explain the array. So I'm going to close this. This is what will really explain the array more for this window. So what if I want to create kind of window such that this is copying? I'm having multiple of that. Do you get what I'm saying? So I want to have, okay, so let's say I have this window and I want to be having a copy of this guy every time. So let me explode this first. Copy and move this here. Explode. So we have this. Hmm? I want a situation where, let me make this really simple, bring this down. I have that, and also select this, bring this down, bring this up. Okay, so we have this. So I want to create a scenario such that if I'm stretching this guy, I'm increasing the length. I want this mullion to be no, I'll be having multiple of it. Like I can turn it to more of a glass panel. So as I'm increasing this, you know that I can use stretch. This will stretch up, will stretch, but this is going to be wider than this. I want to have more of this while this is stretching. So that's what it is. So let's see how we can do that. So let's join this because I know this will be a problem later. Let's just assume this is this. Because I have to be doing calculation to be knowing where the opening is. So I'll come here and create a class panel, dynamic, pick a base point here, select objects, enter, and okay. So we want to do a design so that once we are increasing the width, this is adding. So we'll start with linear parameter because that's what we're going to use to do that. So go to linear, we can specify the point from here to here, go all the way here. Okay, so if I come to the action, so that means for this action, first off, I want to do my stretch. Right, so if I do stretch, I'll select this guy, select this point, and select the frame. Then I can now select the object that I want to stretch. You notice I'm not picking this guy. So this is what we stretch. If we test this, is the normal thing that we have done that will happen. So you notice as I'm changing this place is so wide. I want to have a design so that while I'm changing this, I'm going to be having this guy added at every distance. Yes, yes. So it will be added to it, not moving. So that means this line, so this distance, once you get to that distance, you add another mullion. Once you get to that distance, add another mullion. Do you understand? So we use array for that. No, increment is only for the stretch at an incremental rate. But for us to add this guy, increment is not what we're going to use. It's array. We want to have a copy of it at a particular distance. Do you understand? So what we're going to use is array. So if we come back, we have array option. So if we click on array, it's going to tell us to select parameter we want to associate with. This is the parameter. Then it's telling us select object we want to array. This is the object we want to array. Enter. It's now asking us to put the distance between each column. So if we know this distance, okay. So let's say this is a distance from here all the way to this place, right? Is it from start to start? It's going to be from start to start. Yeah. So from here to here, that's the distance. Yeah, you see very soon. So if we test this and we try to stretch this, as we're going to be adding more. So if I keep going, it will keep adding more. So you can actually use it for your glass panel. So I can also do the same thing for top design. I want to add more up top. So what we can do is we can also do for the top. So that means we have to create a parameter for the height from here to here. Even though I know this might be a problem, but let's see what will happen. But I know it's going to be a problem. I know. I know. Which one? Which line? These two lines, I mean. So, okay, let's see. So if we come to this place, let's do our stretch first. Select this. We want to stretch from here. Pick this as our frame and pick this as our object to stretch. That works. We don't need to test. Let's just because it. Eh? Okay. But you know what it's going to give you now, you know. Let me go back. What's happening? Let me select this. So I can actually right click, action, modify selection. So let's say so it's saying we should specify corner point of stretch frame. So modify this. Oh, sorry. This is supposed to be my stretch frame. Okay, so let's go back. We can go back. See what I chose. So that's what. Right click, action, modify. So this is our stretch frame. To get. Then it's now asking us to select object. So this is going to be the object we're going to select. This and this. We don't want this to be in the selection. Yes, now. If I choose this guy, that means this guy will also be stretching. We don't want it to stretch. Okay, actually, what we want it to stretch. Sorry. Yes, yes. So this should also stretch. Just be having increment. So once you do that, enter. Let's see. Test. I don't think there will be a mistake anymore. So did we click this? No, if we select everything, it's going to move everything. You know what? Let me delete this. We have done one blunder. Select object we want to stretch. This is the parameter. So it's asking us for selection where we want to stretch from here. This is the selection frame from here to here. And this is the object we want to stretch. This guy. This should work now. So I take back my word. Always test. It's working. And here, can you see that now? So this is working. So let's now try and do that increment. So we'll go back to array. This is the parameter we want to associate with. Then the next thing is the object. So this is what we want to array. These two, right? Abi? So this and this, right? So we're going to be having a copy of that. So once we do that, we press enter. It's going to ask us for distance. So it's going to be from end to end. And that's it. So let's test. Something is wrong. No, you should be adding this thing inside. The way this one is adding it inside. So let's close. Let's go back. Go to this array. Delete. I want to delete it altogether. Go back to array. Select the parameter. This is the parameter I want to array. Select the object. This is the object I want to. This is the object that I want. This one. So it's now asking us to enter the distance in between. Let's say from here to here first. Trying to see why this. Okay, I think I'm getting why it will not work. It will not still work. So the reason is because this guy is part of the stretch command. You remember when we were doing the stretch for this one, this wasn't part of it. So that's why it could work. But when we did stretch, we selected this. So if we are stretching, we need this guy is meant to be, there should be two lines here. So it's because this window is kind of complicated, really. And then if which other one? This one. While this one will keep adding. Okay, let's see. So let's go and modify the stretch. Right click, modify, set. So it's asking us to specify corner points. So this is the corner point of our stretch. Select object. So we want to remove from the object. So we're removing this from this object, removing this. So it's only stretching this guy, okay? So let's say enter. So let's test. It's working. So it's because it's part of the stretch. That's why. So that means we need to, but the issue now is that you can see that. So we have to now try and look at it until it fits in before we can stop. It's not okay, it's not, you have to be looking every time. Then this one also you can stretch this. So you already have a glass panel. If you want to put your door here, you can just fit in your door inside this place. And that's all. So I can actually create a door system whereby I can fit in the door into a particular space, change the width and the height. And voila. I'm creating my setup in no time. But that's that. Then the last one I'll talk about before we go to isometric. It's going to save you time. It will. You would have created those things, your own block. So you don't have to create them. You already know you want to do your glass panel. You already have one. Just put how many layers. Makes work fast and easy for you. Instead of you having to create it and be copying every time, you just bring it, do this, do that. For your door, yeah, just take it off. But it's work I want to do well. Click and drag, click and drag. I think I know what the problem is. Creating it is the problem. I know that's what the problem is. Creating that stuff. I know it could be really every time. You have to do it. Okay, so let's close this. So let's now say, okay, I want to now have a design such that it's going to have a different view. So let me quickly create this. So let's say this is TV design. I want to have a TV design so that I'll be able to change from front view, side view to plan view. So if I'm in my plan view, I can see the TV. If I'm in my front view, I can switch to front view, just like that, those cards that you can go to front elevation, plan, and do you understand? This one, the way this one you are looking at me this way. You don't understand. This is it. See this car now. If I select this car, I can use this guy to change to top. I can use it to change to this. Do you understand? You know. Oh yeah, let's create it. Let me just quickly create here. Let me bring my system. Please. I cannot let this. Correct. No, I'm not. I'm bringing this system there. We are doing it. We are continue. We continue. I'm not pausing it. Sir. I'll bring it. Where's my phone? So where should I? You can turn your seat. Esther, see you bring your chair to the side. She likes standing. Okay. I want to be like you. Eh? I'm coming. Like it's not spanner. The food I sent in. So let's say this is just quickly create this from here to here and bring this up.
What are we trying to create?
I'm trying to create a TV, the example now we get. Then see for circle, you get the old gist now. So
This is classical. Mine was school.
it's like I just copy. I know this is what you said you wanted. Just be copying and be pasting. So let's assume this is our TV. This is the front view. All done. Fine. Perfectly well. No wahala. So the next thing is you need to also do for the. So let's quickly create. So that we can create different visibility states. So we'll come here just the same way we create a block out of it. We call this TV TV dynamic. Pick a base point. Let's say these are base points. We select the object. Pick this object. Press enter. We want to open it in block editor. Click on OK. It's going to open this guy in block editor. So let's just quickly add base points. Base point is here. You have that. Then we want to create a different visibility state. So for us to do that visibility state, we are going to be using this guy to do different visibility states. So if we click here, it's going to tell us to specify parameter location. So maybe we want our visibility state to be here, the location. Click, that will be added. And if you go to your action, there is no option for visibility states. It's still part of the parameters that you don't need an action for. So for me to add an action to this, I have to come up to this place where I have my visibility state to do those actions. So we're going to look at each of all these things. Right now, if I click here, you notice I only have visibility state 0. So I can add more states. So remember I said we want to have 3 states: front, top, and so I'll come here to this visibility state, click it, and I'm going to give it name. So I'll say add new. I'll call this top. So I want to leave visibility of existing object unchanged in the state. Then this one, I want to change this. So I'll just select it, rename. I want this to be my front. Okay. Then I'll create another one. Make this my side. Should be. So we have the 3 states. So if I select this guy now and I set it as current, this becomes my current. So if I select this, I can set it as current. So you can see that it's changing. Okay, but let's make the front our current. Click OK. So now we've created this as our current. Then we now have these icons. This allows us to hide objects, make something invisible. This allows us to make something visible. And this allows us to show the visibility, change the visibility mode. So this allows us to make anything invisible that we select. This allows us to make them visible. And this is just a mode that, so turning this guy on will temporarily show invisible objects in a different state. We'll see in a bit. So now we are in front view. This is what I want to see in my front view. All right, fine. So I want to go to my top. So if I switch to my top view now, now in my top view, I have to design what I want to do in my top view. So what I'll do now in my top view is I'll just create my line. So I'll just say line. And yeah, you can create. So this is going to be the top. So let's just say I have, since this is the width from here to here, then this goes all the way. I want it to be really sleek. Come on, all the way down here. Then because the back, I need to have one small get line. Another line. Bring the line from here. Change my view temporarily. Something here. And go all the way till I get to the middle. I need to know where the middle is. So this is the middle. So why I'm doing this is because I want to mirror. So I can pick this as my mirror line. So we have this. So let's assume this is our TV. Then okay. So this is our top view. But in our top view, we don't want this guy to show.
It looks like turn off that it looks like background.
It looks like
Back.
no. If you look at it from top, we don't need back actually. This is what I need. Only this guy.
Okay. That's the top. Yeah, that's the top.
So, but
That's
because
that's what I'm saying. What about this? This
we
one.
we have to now turn it off. So, which is why this is here. We have to now make this invisible. So, select make invisible. So, it's going to tell us select object we want to make invisible. Select this guy, all of them like this, and this. Once you have this selected, press enter. They're going to go invisible in this state. So what that means now, if I switch from here to my front, I only have this. If I switch from front to my top, I only have this. So I'll do the same thing for my side. So I have to create my side view. So let's assume this is our side view still. So I'll create my line. You notice I go to that visibility state before creating. Because now doing this will automatically, whatever I'm creating is only meant just like your layer. It's creating it for that visibility state. So every other visibility state is going to turn them off. So here I want my this to be my, so let's say this is going to be here all the way here. This, so we want this to be sleek. Even though we are not using dimensions, we're supposed to use dimension. So we are still going to create another line, and that line is going to be from here and turn it off the back, the back that's meant to hold. So let's say this. You get. Then this button, I want to create a button here. How small you get now. So I'll just use my arc, ARC for arc. So I think I can just, let me just come to my home tab. I want to use my start end direction. So my start is going to be on this point. So I need to, I want to, I can actually use line. Eh? You're going to see what I'm going to do now. It's going to show but small. So I'll use my start end direction. I'll still delete this line, start end. So if I turn off my auto mode, just a little bit of it, then I can delete this guy. I don't need that anymore. So once I'm done, do you get what I'm doing now? So once I'm done with this, I need to also go back to my block editor. I need to turn off some, so I'll say turn off this guy, and also this circle, right? Press enter. So this is our side view together. So this will bring things back on. So this one, remember, if we turn this state, it's going to show every other thing that I turned off. It's just going to show them so that I can now say I want you to turn on something. If I say make visible, we can now set what we want to make visible. So that means this is going to be visible if I turn this off now in this state. So that's what this make visible does. And this one will just temporarily show whatever you have made invisible. And if I don't want to show them, it's only showing them here in this editor. If you go to the normal drawing, it won't show it. So let's turn this thing back off. So we'll say make invisible. We'll make this guy invisible and they go. So if I turn this off now, we're back. So that's everything. So once we are done, we actually don't need to test, but let's test to be on the safe side. So if we select this, we have the visibility state. We can go to the top, we can go to the side, we can go back to the front. Are you feeling it? So I've explained it the simplest way you will need it. So once you are done, you can just close your editor. You can save your block and close your editor. That's save it to that. If I select this, I can move it anywhere I want to move to. I can move this here and I can change the state. Adjust it. Then there's this one more thing. That one more thing is left the height. How can we do it? So
Can you edit a block you've already built?
yeah, that's what I want to show you. So now we've created this block now. I want to edit it. Just select the block, right click. We're going to say edit block in place. or block editor. Block in place will allow me edit it here, but I want to go to the block editor. If I go to block editor, it takes me back to this place. So let's do the stretch. So that means I can now add height to this guy from here to here.
That's nice.
Yeah, height. I can add height to it, go and add an action. But now what I will do is that in my front view, I'm just going to turn on this so that I'll be able to see what I'm selecting. Because I want to be able to change the height of the front and the side should also change. I will make sense. So I want to be able to change the side of the front and the. So if I come here, go to the action, I can say stretch, select this, select these points that I want to stretch from, then stretch frame. So I want this to be my stretch frame. I don't want this to be part of my stretch. So just from here to here. Then it's good time to select objects. If I select this as my object to stretch, just only this, I need to also select this guy. Because if I do this now, let me just show you guys so you see. If I press enter and I test, in my front view, I can stretch. But if I switch this to my side, the side remains. And the side is supposed to also stretch. Do you understand? Which is why when doing your stretch, so let's, yes, if I modify this set, you have to also include this. So go back, select this frame, and then select this object. Notice that object is now added.
We don't want that this back thing, so
This
we
one,
stretch it.
no, 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 no. Or should it stretch?
Yes,
Okay,
because if you got the TV, it should
okay,
come up.
stretches. So we have that, press enter. So let's test. So if we come here, we can stretch from this view and even go to the next view. It goes. So this, so we have to understand. So we can also from here, so we can't even stretch from here. We can't bring it down. We have to go back to this front view. Do you understand? So we have that. Then this, we need to look for what is happening here. Why is this? This,
I think because you put the line to stretch.
okay, let's modify that.
Or is it
So
because it's not this stretch? Let me see.
let me see. If I do this, oh yeah, yeah, that's why, that's why. That is why. Sorry. It's not. So I have to make sure it's part of it. Yeah, yeah. Ah, Esther, Esther.
It because
I need to, but I cannot be consulting you. Why should I be consulting? So I think this should work now. So if we do this, stretch this out, go to the works, okay, the mount. So you get that. Then for the width also the same. So that means if I were to do for this width, we have to relate it with the plan. Because only width the width for the front and the plan is the only thing that works together. Height, we cannot change height for plan. Do you get it? So that means you are doing this one, you have to also include this into it. So that's that. So that is it for dynamic block.
because if
Hmm?
you are stretching and you don't edit this center, so maybe you
I don't understand.
this one I'm stretching now. Computer is asking if I want to stretch it, stretch it. This button, you know, make it. So I want to this one.
It will remain there. You are stretching from this side.
So
Hmm?
how
You are
do you
stretching from this side. This will remain where it is.
what if we stretch this whole place? Because that back has to have to stretch.
Yes.
Because I don't this don't want to see this.
Let's try it. Let's can always try. So let's add a parameter from here. to here. Then go and add an action. You want to stretch. Select parameter I want to stretch. Okay. Then we pick the point we want to stretch from. Then we choose the stretch frame. So that means our stretch frame is going to encompass this circle too. Right? Then the object, we want to stretch this object here. Stretch this. We want this circle to follow it while stretching. Ctrl Z. Then we also want this one to stretch. Okay. So once we are done, this also has to stretch. Hope you know that. Because since it's yeah, so we have to do stretch. Okay, so let's finish and let's try. And so we need to look for a way to make sure it stays in the middle. This one is working fine. This is working fine. It's just that one.
Because this one
So we should look for a way to constrain this. Should be able to constrain. Let's try and constrain. So that means we should look for a way to constrain this guy. Is not. Oh, okay. I thought you said there's constraint there. So we need to add a constraint to this such that this distance, there's no dimensional constraint. Okay, there is. How do we do this? This one, concentric. What you know, concentric is between two circles now. Do you get? It's between two circles. I'm thinking what we should do is to add a okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to add a dimension, a dimensional constraint. I will now remember the formula we used, that formula things. So let's do, we're going to add two constraints here. So we will select dimension. It tells us to specify first constraint of the object. I mean, this is going to be okay. I think what we can do is not dimension. How do we make this stay at this midpoint? Hmm? Mr. Falab, how do we make it stay at the midpoint?
you can do it this thing you know you keep them how what's it called again? Dimension of them as one object to make all this one object. Instead of making it individual object.
You need to join them.
Yes.
It will not because it's not connecting to anything. The only thing that can join is these ones because they are connected. This one is floating, so it cannot. It's a separate object. It's a floating object. Let me even first off turn off all other things so that I can focus on this first. Because we are done with that one. So, yeah, I've not finished now. Chill now. You've already won. I believe that I can do it. Wait, this guy, I want to look for a way to get the dimension from here to here to be the same thing as from here to here. And I want it to link to this object. So if we select this object, let's see. If we use
Symmetric.
symmetric,
Symmetric means always be
whatever you do here will always have effect. It's when you are working here. The other one.
when you can equal to what? I don't know. Equal to the midpoint.
Because if we do this, select this object, midpoint of that object, second constraint point. This. Let's see first. D1. Let's go back again. Midpoint of this object should be the same thing now. It's not even the same thing, Martin. It's not even centered. Oh, God. Ashiri. So let me create a line and see what's happening. So this is the midpoint. It's there now. So why is it not? This your maybe it's but let me try what I want to do from here to here. Eh? So again, select this object to this object. So what I want is I want this guy to have the same dimension, right? So
Does that mean that the dimension can be wrong at times, so that midpoint snapping can be wrong at times?
I don't know. Well, this is new. D2 is equal to D1. Shifted that stuff. So
No, you should have said D1 should be equals to D2 because you'll be stretching D2. So if you stretch
okay, so
D2,
let's
D1 will
do
follow.
this.
I know you see.
We'll see first now. Can I sit down? Well, let's see what happens. So we have this, and let's go and check the. Let's test it with relation to this object. You know, bus. Man.
You mean to make something vertical, constraint vertical.
Madam, turn this off. I beg.
Just move the middle point, just move it
This one.
to the
This
side.
one. This middle
That
point.
button, just move it to the side so that
Which
you can
side?
move
This
this
side.
side.
So it will be moving with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So here, it's going to be here.
That's it. And the solution
That's not the solution. Yeah, that's running from the solution.
then modify. What is that not a solution? Instead of packing your brain and spending hours, modify your design and it can even be better.
All the way to this place. What now?
Ah,
Oh, I didn't pick. Sorry. Modify this action. So saying I should create a corner point. This is the corner point. Then we should pick object. So I'm picking this object all the way to this place.
I am picking out that line.
Then I'll press enter. Abi?
Let's try it. I don't know. Or I think that constraints this stuff.
So let's check the other view. Not side, top. So that means in our top view, we need to also add this thing here.
The button. I said the
The
button should be existing.
should
Because
also
you,
be
did, you
here.
didn't add those other buttons.
Okay.
Like just make the button invisible. Make a design that is very visible.
Let's come here to. It's
At
only visible in the front view. So let's go to the
top.
top view. See, it's not here. So let's make visible. It's going to be visible now. Let's go to the side view and make this one visible.
I don't understand.
We want to see this guy that we used to.
Okay.
Um,
Labi.
you can see this now.
Sorry, sir.
If I go to this view, sorry, if I go to this, now
What did I want to delete?
It's not showing.
Okay,
Solution. Give us solution. Eh?
Sorry.
Okay,
Need
well,
your battery.
no problem. So I'll just stop this and close, and that is it. It worked. It worked. We had to move this thing. Yeah. Hey, that's why I told her. That's why I told her. She said,
if you don't
"Move
move
it."
it, you can just make the separate figure then you tell me
Oh
to
my
then
God. But that's I don't. That's our own solution. So let's go to the next thing. So I'll turn on my construction line. So the next thing we have now is isometry. So I said today we are going to go into it, the basic things on isometry. Then on Monday, we'll now start proper. We'll finish up isometry. Eh? What?
I thought when you said isometric, so let's start.
We are going to do something with isometric. I will teach us up to the point where I can give you assignments. So don't worry. So isometric, for us to switch to isometric, you notice here we just have our grid. See the way the grid goes, vertical and horizontal. This is rectangular grid setup. AutoCAD gives us three different grid snaps. Snap style, we have the rectangular snap style, we have the isometric snap style, and then we have the polar. Right? So how can we get to that snap style? Just come to your grid. Once you come to your grid, right click on it and go to your grid settings. So I go to my grid settings, it will take me to my snap and grid. If you come down here under my snap style, I have rectangular, isometric, and polar. Okay, so all along we've been working on rectangular snap style. Okay, so for us to
just
do
rectangular snap
is this one that we're currently on. So that's why every time we put on our auto mode, it constrains vertical and horizontal. Do you know why it's constraining vertical and horizontal? I didn't mention that, and I purposely didn't want to mention it until now, and I will show you once we go to isometric. So every time we put on this snap style, what AutoCAD is doing is not actually constraining it vertical and horizontal. It's only constraining it to these grid lines. And you know that the grid lines are vertically and they are vertical and horizontal. So that's why we are having it going along with the two grid lines, we have the horizontal and the vertical. Okay, so this auto is not only for vertical and horizontal, it only follows the grid line. So that means if I switch to a different snap style, which is the isometric, if I turn on my auto mode, it will follow the grid. Do you understand? That's what I'm trying to say. So if we do this, right click here and turn this off, turn it on, and we switch to isometric. Look at what will happen to my changes. See the
Okay,
exactly.
try line. Yes,
So if I create line now and make sure my auto is on, click, it goes vertical, right?
okay.
Normal one. But if I come down, it's not going horizontal, it's following that grid pattern, the grid line. So this is to let you know that this is not going vertical horizontal, it's following the grid line. Do you understand? So in isometric snap, another way you can also switch is like coming down here. You can see that, notice that my mouse changes. If I go back, if I'm using rectangular snap style, I have the normal white cross, which is going vertical and horizontal. Another way I can also switch from this to isometric snap is by coming down to this place. You can see this isometric. Just click it, it's going to activate. If I want to deactivate again, click. So before now, we were always going here. But from 20, I think from 2018, I think 2017 thereabout, they brought in this icon. So they just saved us several clicks of right clicking, 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 okay. Then just come in here, click here once, it switches to that snapshot. Click again to deactivate it. So for isometric snap style, we have three different views. We have the top, we have the left, and we have the right. So if I bring this guy out, I like using this to explain. So I'll just bring up my paint to use in explaining this. So if I bring up my brush tool, increase the size, and create this simple object that we all know, box. You notice that this box is divided into three parts. You have this part, you have this part, and you have this part. Right? So if you look at it as we are looking at it, you know that this side is the right side, this side is the left side, and this side is the top side. So that means when you are in isometric snap, you always have three different views: the top view, the left view, and the right view. AutoCAD call them isoplane top, isoplane right, isoplane left. Do you understand? You always put this isoplane. Eh? You don't use. No. You have a top, right, and left. So how do you know when you are on top view, when you're on right view, and when you're on left view? This is how you know. If you bring your mouse to any of this line here, your mouse should give you something like this. If your mouse gives you something that goes this way, that means if you look at it, that means it can allow you to create a vertical line, right? And it can allow you to create a line going towards this direction. And if you follow that line, that means it can allow me create this line, this vertical line, because this line is parallel to this. I can create this. This one is parallel to this. I can create this. So that means this cursor will allow me create right. I won't make any sense. So this is isoplane right. So this is how isoplane right cursor looks like. Hmm? Then if you put your cursor and you're having something like this, so that means it can allow you. I'm just using color to differentiate. No, it's not the color. So that means this allows you to create line going this direction, line going up, and if you look at them, so that means you are creating it. So this is isoplane left. And anytime you have a line that looks like an X shape like this, meaning it can create this direction, this direction. This is isoplane. So that means when your cursor is like this is isoplane top. Do we get that? So you can always, so if you come here now, what view is this? This is left. I can also switch by clicking here. I have isoplane top. You can see my cursor. I can also click here, switch isoplane right. The grid is also helping me. So now my question is now, or not the
If you
question
change if
actually.
you change top,
Yeah, it will change. So that's why I turned on the grid. Because if it's not on, you will not really see it. That's why I turned it on so that I can see while it's changing. So now it's not question per se, is more of my concern now is that is it every time I want to switch, I have to be coming here and be switching. I want to draw this, I have to come here again and switch. This is time consuming. There's a shortcut, Mr. Falada. Please, this shortcut is important. If you want your work to be fast. So the shortcut for switching between different views is F5. So if because of my own system, there is a function key. So I need to hold down. If I go and press F5, what it's going to do is going to turn off my lights. So I have to use the function key. You get, I have to use the function key. So, but if you don't have a second function, F5 works. So if I hold down function key, or I can hold down shift. If I hit F5, look at what happens. Okay, so that shift is not working in this case. So just use function key. Notice what's happening. As I'm hitting F5, you see that it's even changing. Isoplane top, isoplane right, isoplane left, isoplane top, right, left. So, and also my grid is also changing. Can we go back to this now? All right, so we see that we can switch by hitting F5 and it's going to switch between groups. So that's another thing you also need to know. Another thing you also need to know in isometric snap is that isometric snap is not just like a rectangular snap where you can create any drawing tools. You can create your line, create your polyline, create your arc, create your spline, all those things. Isometric snap is it has too many, as in it has constraints. Not that I can't create those things, but it will not give you an accurate result. So what we usually create or we usually use in isometric snap is either line or polyline. Hmm? Then for us to get that ourselves, you needing curve. We are going to be making use of ellipse. Okay? So we are going to be making use of ellipse. Ellipse is what we use. So we use line, polyline, and ellipse. Hmm? So thank you for that question. In normal rectangle, ellipse is just a complete stuff, and but if you bring it to isometric objects, we ellipse has a command inside, a sub command inside that we need. That's why I said ellipse is what we use. Because sub command we actually need inside the ellipse is the iso circle. Okay, so let me show. And now the thing again is that for you to see that iso circle, you need to run the ellipse command. If you click the ellipse from here, you will not see the command, you will not see the sub command. You need to run the command. Do you understand? So you need to know the ellipse command. Even if you don't know the ellipse command, type it, use the command line bar, type ellipse command, just type it in full and press enter so that it can bring up the sub command. Okay? That sub command that you are looking for is only visible when you are in your isometric snap. If you are in your rectangular snap and you type your ellipse, I don't know how to spell ellipse again. Is it double L? Okay, it's double L. You can see if you run the ellipse, type it, you only have two options, arc and center. It's because I'm a rectangular snap. If I escape this and I go to my isometric snap and I run the same command, you notice I now have a third option, iso circle. So that iso circle is only seen when you run the ellipse command and when you have activated your isometric snap. Okay? Are we making any sense? So let's say we are going to create this box. Let's assume we want to create this box of 20 units on all sides. 20 units, for instance. Any value you want to choose works. So that means we are going to use our line or polyline, anyone works. So if we say line, then we want to make sure our auto mode is on. If you click from here, that means this will allow me to create on what side? Right. So come down. Okay, if I type 20, it's going to be really small. So that means I need to zoom in because of my zoom factor. So I'll come towards direction again 20, move up 20, move here 20. So I need to look for a way to move towards this side, but I can't. So that means I need to switch my view. So now I've switched to left. So I can come towards direction 20, come down 20, come here 20, and I'm done. But I want to come to this place, right? So that means I have to stop the command. I can't because the line, line continues. I have to rerun the command again, click where I want to start from. I want to be able to move here. So if I switch this to top view, this works. I'll come here, 20, come here, 20, and enter to stop. And see that. It's very simple. Isometry is very simple. You can see how simple. So we can also use it to create that our L shape. So you remember that our L shape. You notice I keep referring back every time. You notice that this L shape is this dimension. So that means you are going to do your E and H. And now L is always my own example. You have H and E to do. So you know that for the L, this is 8, this is 6, this is 2, 2, making this 6, 4, right? So let's assume we want to do an isometric view, whereby it's going to have a thickness. So we're going to have something like this. And this will have a particular thickness. So let's say this thickness here is going to be 3, for instance. Hmm? So let's try and recreate this in isometric view. In like my, yeah, you get. It's easy now, very easy. So let's, there's no way you have to draw the lines. What down? Mhm. Mhm. Complete with what? You cannot. You have to do that. So AutoCAD, you have to do it. So click, come down, 8, come towards the direction, 6, right? Come up, 2, go towards the side, 4, 6. And C to close. It still works because it's still one chain. So the next thing is I want to do this part, right? So if I go back to my line, I'll click here. I said I want everything to be what? 3. So I'll switch my view to this. This will still go. So, but then, okay, let's say this 3. Want to move up, but we can't move up. So start to switch again. This is going to be what? 2. Thank you. Mr. 4 is following us. So this comes up and it will automatically. Can you see we've done that? We have to do this one also. So we can also now another thing I also want to mention is that in your isometric snap, you can use all the modify tools. You can copy, you can move, you can rotate, but if it doesn't work, but you can do all those, you can fillet, you can trim. So if I don't want to save, I want to save myself of all this drawing. I want to copy this line. Since I know that it's 3 all the way, I can actually copy this line. Use my copy command, pick this as my base point. You notice normally it will not allow me come here because I'm using snap. It will force to that point. If I click here, snaps here. Click here, snaps here. Click here, snaps here. So this is just to help me do this part all through. Then I cannot go back to my line and pick these points and forcing them. This is just lazy work. I don't want to be doing the dimension, putting the length. I've already done the copy, then just jump stamp. So I know that's what she's going to be doing. You said you finish before. I used to she use her she use it. So you get the whole gist. But then the thing now is, you notice we've only been doing lines. So what if I want to have an arc somewhere here? So okay, let's say we want to have a circle inside this place. Have another circle here, have a circle here. How can we do it? Or let's even say this place we want to have a curve that will like more like a chiseled. Do you understand? So inside now goes in. But let's look at adding a circle first. To first of all, get a realistic circle before we can now start saying we want to choose it first. So I'm going to copy this one, CO for copy. I'll move one here, move one here, and move another one here. So we know that from here to here is what length? 20, right? So let's say we want to create a circle of radius 6 or 7. Huh? So I'll show you how to get it done. So we want to create radius at the center, circle at the center with radius 7. So what I will do is for me to get the center, first of is I will, midpoint to midpoint. If I click midpoint here, midpoint first to this midpoint, wherever the meet is going to be the center. This is what I'm going to start drawing. You can, but because of you and her. Because right now, you don't know all those object snap tracking. Have you used it before? You haven't. No, for normal one, the normal one. So, okay, you know how to use object snap tracking. The normal, then there's no point. Why am I now doing this? Sorry. My bad. My bad. Don't worry. But I know that you guys are professionals, but you don't have, but you don't have faith in yourselves. That's why. So just believe, and you do it. Do you understand? So let's do it. So which assignment is that? But one of the assignments I did that in how many minutes in your presence? And so I know you will always talk. I know you have something to say. Let's do circle. So let's create circle. Center radius. I just want to show you that circle doesn't work. So this is the midpoint now. So you can actually get the midpoint. All you need to do is just click on one of these line, trace it a little bit, go to the next one, trace it. You start tracing till you get that point. So this is the point. This is the midpoint. So that's how I use the object map track. I just zoom into the two lines. So I only need two lines to get the midpoint. The middle of this line meeting the middle of this line to get the midpoint. So if I come in, you don't click, just go to that and trace this. While you have this green line, come to the next one. You can see that you still have this. It will still be there temporarily, waiting for you to bring another thing to snap to it. So this is the midpoint. Bring this up. I'll start going till I see both of them snap. So this is the midpoint. Do you understand? So the reason why you don't have normally I'm supposed to have this option. Where is it? Where is this? Geometry center, not mid center. This center is for circular object or arc, but this geometric center is for any other shape. The center of geometry. So the reason why I don't have this geometric center is because I use line to create this guy. So they are not joined; they are individual segments. If I had to use polyline now, so let's say I'm using polyline 20, 20, 20, then C. So if I select this, this is one object. If I try to draw anything now, I'm going to get the midpoint because this is one entity. Do you understand? So that's another option. So if you know that you are going to be snapping to the mid, use polyline. So that once you draw that it joins them, you can now snap to the geometric midpoint or center point. So I know that I won't get geometric center point here because I use line to draw these guys. But for this one that I use polyline, I can just automatically go to that center point. But let's look at the circle. So if I come to circle, click here, notice my view. This is my view, right, sorry, yeah, right. So that means I should create a circle that should go in the right direction. So I said the radius is going to be 7. See what I have. Does it look realistic? Okay, maybe we should do it here. So circle, so this is it here. Let's just do it here. Let's say a radius of 3. See, again, change our view to top view in this case. Pick here, radius of 3, and change our view again to left. Just pick somewhere, radius of 3. Can you see that it doesn't really look like it's on that plane, that face? So which is why you should note that circle is not ideal for isometric drawing. So circle should not be part of the icons you are going to be clicking if you are in isometric drawing. So what I will do is I will go, instead of me using circle, I will run my ellipse command, and I will go to my isocircle, I for isocircle, you can click. So what view am I currently on? Left. So I'll come to this place, trace, go to this place, trace, wherever they meet, this is it. Can you see it's looking like it? Like something that is on that surface. So I can now put the radius 6. This will look better than that. So let's try and do the right. EL for ellipse, I for isocircle because I is highlighted blue. So I'll pick here, midpoint, trace down a little bit here, midpoint, trace, wherever they meet. The radius is 6. You notice that this direction of this is going this way, this is going this way. Then we can also do for the top, ellipse, I for ISO. We have to switch our view to top view. Then go to midpoint, midpoint, wherever they meet, radius of 6. You can see that three of them look different and it feels like they are on those faces. Okay? So that's how you can use your. So, like I also said, you can also use your modifier tools, right? So that means, like I said I want to have a chiseled top here. So that means if I'm going to be having a chiseled top, that means I need to create an ellipse in my top view, right? So instead of me bringing it from this center point, this is going to be my edge. Okay, so I'll select this, delete, run my ellipse again, I for isocircle. So my center point will now be on this guy, draw it all the way to this place. So let's assume this is a chiseled radius. You notice it doesn't look like something that's chiseled. I need to trim off. So if I use my trim command, I can trim off this guy and also trim off this guy. And I have this. But that's not all. There should be a line because this place should show. So if I say my line, picture, I need to change this my view to anything that goes down. Just come down, and I can trim. So this looks more like. Do you understand? If I look at this surface, if they choose this surface, I'm looking at it from this point. I should be able to see that point and get to the. So that's what this is. If I want to do the same thing here, maybe I want to create a chiseling somewhere here or somewhere here, I can also do it. Okay, so that means if I go to my ellipse, change my view has to be top, pick from here, choose my I for ISO is very important, pick from here all the way to this place. Then I can trim, yeah, trim. But then, depending on where I want the chiseling to get to, if I want the chiseling to get to the midpoint of this guy, so that means I have to select this guy, copy it, then switch my view to one that can move. This is going to be my base point, move to the middle. So I'm going to have this as the middle. Then I can just use line to join from here to here. Then I know I'm going to have this all the way here, actually all the way to this place. And that's all. Then I also going to have a line from here coming down to this place, right? Then these ones will not see those things. If I use my trim, I know that this, I'm not going to see this, I'm not going to see this one. I'm not going to see this, I'm not going to see this. So it's going to look more like, is it now beginning to look advanced now? I'm doing advanced stuff for you now. I'll give you each side now. You now see it's advanced. Are you getting this now? So let's now assume this. Uh, yeah. Okay, let me undo. So okay, let's say this time now. Yeah, you mean this one? Cut screw down. So that means, yeah, that's so that means you have to just do this. Not even you still have to copy this guy down. Let me copy this. So you see, I will do the two options. Copy this, move this here. So here we're going to do, let's assume we're chiseling this thing down. So what we're going to do is create a line, switch our view to bring this all the way down to this place, and also from here, right, all the way down to this place. But that's not all. We still have to bring this guy down. So that means we select this, we have to use our copy to move from here. Click here, go to the next place, click to paste it before we can now start trimming. So we know we are going to trim off this, this will go, this will go, this goes, this also will go. And then we have that. Hmm? Did you get? Then the other one, I said I want the trimming, we don't want this to trim through. We want it to trim to halfway. And we know that this is where the halfway is. This is the midpoint. All the
But
way
I
to
saw
this
something
place.
now. This line you took off from here,
Mm.
you might as well leave it. You can leave it here. It depends.
No, it's
If you leave it, if you should put it back, I'll show you. We should leave it from here to here. Oh,
it doesn't make sense. Except if you want to have a little bit of thickness to it, that will not show that it's not
wait,
chiseled
also,
through.
wait, go back. I've seen it like this is open, then this is the floor.
That is close.
Yes.
So if you, I know what you're saying.
Yes.
That means you want to do it, this guy will not be on the ground. It has to go up a little bit. Probably something like this. A little bit of thickness, even if it is small. And that small thickness, you have to create a line to show it here. That okay, this is the thickness. This, do you understand what I'm saying? You can now trim this. This one will trim. Show that. You have to think. That's the thing. You have to think. Really think. So now this guy will have to. So this is now showing that okay, it's actually thick. Do you understand? So if you want to do it halfway, I'm just creating this to show you the half. Then that means I have to select this guy, copy it, and move it down. So if I know the length, I can put the length. But because I don't, okay, I actually know the length is 10. So if the total is 20, so I can just pick from here, come down, type 10. I'm going to put it on that surface. Then I can delete this. I don't need this anymore. Okay. Then I can use line to join here to here, join here to here. Because now it's not cutting through. Then use another line to join from here to this place because this place cannot be opened up. Then if you use your trim command, can trim this because we're not going to see this, we're not going to see this, we're not going to see this. Okay. So what if we want to have a kind of handle up top here, like a semicircular handle? Still ellipse are going to use isocircle. But the direction of your handle will now determine the isoplane that you're going to use. So if my handle is going to go like this, that is going to be what? Right. If my hand is going to be this way, what's going to be? If my hand is going to be like this.
top.
No. That is going to be the
Left.
left.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
understand? So because I want to create a handle this one, I want to right?
Yeah.
So now I have to first off switch to my right, which is where I'm currently at now. Then I'll go to my ellipse, I for isocircle, then pick the middle. Another thing I also want to do is I don't want the handle to be on the edge. I want it to come in a little bit. I don't want to be on the edge to have a little bit of offset inside. So that means I need to draw where I want the handles to be, right? So let's assume here, let's use an offset. So if I have a line and say, eh? Trace what? Okay, sorry, 0.3. What I'm saying is, I want to put handle here, but I don't want the handle to be on this edge. This place, trace it to where? We can, but I still need to snap to something now. Do you get? I need to snap to something. Okay, what are you saying I should trace first? The isocircle. Okay, let's try that. So, isocircle. Okay. Where will be my center point? Here? Inside. Can I? Let's see. How do I know whether this is correct? Do you understand? How do I know that this is the right? I'm only going to guess. I need to also, how do I also know the distance? Because I can't come here and start typing the distance. Can I? Okay, let's say 0.3. Oh, uh-uh. Oh God! Yeah, she's feeling herself. Wow, that's nice. Oh, so this is where it starts from 0. Oh God! Oh, that's fine. Okay, so if the total is, we know that total, the radius will be what now? We don't even know what this radius is. Let's say here. So it's going to be 10, right? So let's say we want the full radius to be 9. We don't also want it to get to the top. So we can just put the radius, let's say 9.5. So don't forget 0.3, 9.5. So we have that. The next thing we also need to know is what thickness. What will be the thickness of that handle? So let's assume we want to have a thickness of, let's say, 1.5. So that means we are going to copy this guy and let's try what you did. Because of this view, so we have to change our view. So we're going to say 1.5, right? Okay. So that's just the outline. Another thing is it's just going to be thin. What do I mean? Let's trim off these things first so that. And another issue we're going to have is how do we know where this is going to be? The line. That's why I like where. From what way? No. Well, you know this guy is not supposed to be on the surface. Are you sure?
Yes, very sure.
I don't think so.
It will be because it's meeting. This is the plane. This is the top plane.
That's
Yes,
9.5.
this is the top plane.
Uh-huh.
Now, if it's meeting at this point here,
This point here. Eh? Is that what you're saying?
yes, draw a line to still be on that 0.3 line.
I'm having a bad about this. So that means this has to be 0 point. This has to be, the total is 10. I've created a radius of 9.5. That means this should be 0.5. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes.
Let's see. Dimension outline. Let's just use measure break from here to here. What is this giving us? Can you see?
And his eyes so circle cannot be rejected.
No. Are you sure? This your approach. I don't
Of
understand it.
what?
Your approach of creating this other one. This one quite alright. Fine. I like it. But I feel what we should do
Is
is
it this line?
how do we get this line? That's what I'm saying. How do we get where this line is meant to be? So I feel after we've done this, we need to create a line from this guy. We need to create a line to meet this guy so that we can know where to draw this line from. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Don't get. Create this, meet this arc. Can you see? So this is where it's meant to be.
Okay.
Are you getting what I'm trying to say now? You're not. Because now this is not where we're going to draw it from. We want to draw it from this arc. And we know that this arc has an offset inwards. So that means we need to create another line where we are starting from to know where this offset is. So now from here we can tell where this will meet this other line. So this is where they are meeting, not this one. Are you getting me now? Yeah, so let me feel myself too now. Let me feel myself too. So that means this guy also has to come down. So sorry, undo, if undo, I don't want to snap.
Now, from here to here, what distance do you use?
0.3. Yes,
Why do you
0.3.
use 0.3?
I
Okay.
just said, let's assume we want to have 0.3.
Okay.
If you have a value, we use that value. So now we've done this, that means we have to, let's just finish up. Draw a line. Don't worry, it's going to look rough, but I promise you it's going to look nice later. So we have this. Right now, this is going to be thin, but we need to add a little bit of thickness with. Let's trim things we don't need. So trim off these guys, trim off this, trim off this one, we don't need this, we don't need this. So this is, we are not going to see this one. Trim off these ones, these ones. Okay, so normally you are not going to see this, right? You are not going to see this one, right? I'm not going to see this. Normally, this is what we're going to have. I still need this line. I still need this line. I'm supposed to delete this line, but I'll tell you why I need this line. Right now, you notice that this thing doesn't look like, it doesn't have depth. It's just like paper. You get it's just like paper. Offset will not work. Let's see if we try offset. So let's assume we want to have a thickness for this hand pan to be, let's say 0.5 thickness or 0.6. Let's use offset and see 0.6 and select this guy. You can see that offset is not working in this case. So offset is one of the, no, offset works, but for this isocircle, it will not work. Offset can work for this kind of line. If I do an offset and I go with that 0.6, I can select this, it works. Do you understand? But for this one, it doesn't work. So what I feel we can do is we can create a line from here going towards the side 0.6 just for us to know where to snap to. We can now go back to our ellipse. I for ISO, we need to switch to this view, go from the middle of this line all the way to this place, just so that it can give us this thickness. Then we can now use, actually no, we don't need that second one. Oh, we will need it too. Yes, we need it. So that means we are going to create a line, switch our view going all the way here, right? Let it intersect a little bit. Eh? We never scatter, don't worry. So once you have this, we have to copy this guy here. So that means this line, we have to copy it. So we say copy. Yeah, we want to move it here because if this place is thick, that means the inner part also. This place now, you know this one has a thickness. It has a thickness. This one also should have its own thickness. Yeah, we will see. We will see. We will see where we can. Why call it drawings when we can move it? Just copy. You are going to see it now. So if we do trim, trim this, trim this, trim this, and trim this. We are going to trim this one. So this one we are not going to see this. We are not going to see all these guys because this. We are not going to see this. So this is the front part. Because this back, we are not going to see that back. Let me undo that so that I'll be sure of what I'm doing. So this face is going to be clear all the way. This goes here. It's clean all the way. So up to this place. I have that. Then this will go. Definitely we are not going to see this because I just needed this too. I'm going to delete this guy. Trim, trim, trim. Like I said, this can confuse you. So you have to calm down for it. So we have that. Then this one will go, right? This will go. I'm not going to see. I'm not going to see this guy. I'm not going to see these two guys. Can you see now it's beginning to make sense? Then you will think you are done, but no. This place here, we need to join it with a line. So we do line, What we are looking for is quadrant to quadrant. So why we do that is so that we can trim this guy. So we have a consistent. Do you see that? And the good thing with this is that I can do a multiple copy of this. So if for instance, this one, there is a space that can accommodate it. Let's just assume there's a space. You want to have another one on that end. You can just select this guy and copy it. So it includes all these ones here. Select all of this shape. You can just select it and use copy command and move this copy from here. Let's say from here all the way to where we want it to be. So let's assume it's going to be here. Let's just assume now. What? So it's going to be here. So that means this guy we need to extend, right? Then we need to use the line. I forgot to copy the line from quadrant to quadrant. So we go to quadrant, then trim of this, and then we trim off these guys. So I don't need to come here and start creating this again. Trim of this, trim of this, trim of this. Then here I'll trim of this, trim of this, trim of this. So maybe we want to add something else. I can just create a line, change my view, very important. Let it go all the way there. And maybe we'll copy this one, just move this one just to fake it that something is here. We'll now extend, get the gist. We now line. So that means this one, we need to create a line, change our view, and bring this down. And we are lying. We are just lying. We are faking things. Okay, so that's fine. That means this goes, this goes. This will go, this will go. And then we are fine. Yeah, we can still. I won't show you everything. So, what if we want to create kind of a fillet? You can also do fillet in isometrics now. So, I can decide, okay, maybe this place should have a little bit of fillet. I can run my fillet command. It's the same way you run it, press R for radius, set your radius. So, let's assume we want to run a fillet of radius 20. Pick the first line and the second line. You see that? I think it's too much. R back, make it 8. I have this. Do you get that? So anytime you are filleting this kind of view, in this case, so if I run my fillet command and I set my radius to be 10, if I pick this, I pick this, I'll do the same thing, pick this and this. This line has to go. I hope you know that. And if this line is going, you need to show a line that shows that this line continues and it stops somewhere. At least this line stops somewhere and the curve starts at some place. So you need to use a line to show where the curve starts. And how do you get that point? If you move your mouse, you get to a point where you see end point. So that's where your curve starts from. Come down, end point, do the same thing here. End point, end point. Then you can delete this. If you are in this position, let's do reverse engineering. You are in this position, how can you go back to that sharp corner? You can't. Eh? What? Yeah. Yes, you can just use your extend command. But then, if I do this, extend this, wherever they meet the line, I extend this one out. You can see that in this case, I can't extend. So the reason why this extend was going is because there's a line here. So what I can do again is to select this one, follow this, or I can just create a line from this point follow that direction. Create a line from this point, change my view, follow that direction. Wherever they meet, use a line to join them. So once I'm done joining, I can select this, delete, select this, delete. Then you can use your trim command to trim those things that needs to be trimmed, delete these ones. Okay. So the first classwork, do your age, anything you want, enjoy yourself, freestyle, age, E, freestyle. Then once you're now done with freestyling of your age and E, let's now do this one. So I have enough isometric to give us exercises. Eh? I'll give you, don't worry. I will give you back. Is it to give you? I'll give you. So I can stop recording.